The type of budgeting that we're looking forward for are various types of budgeting, various kinds of budgeting. If you Google out, lots and lots and lots of more are there. But primarily, if you look at incremental, okay. Incremental budgeting, which means what has been your last year, how are you going to continue the business in the same pattern, and we move forward. Activity based budgeting, zero based budgeting, profitability budgeting, and cash flow budgeting. See, I have taken very specific according to the needs and the demands. We will see how each of them can be implemented in an organization. Incremental budgeting, simple. Last year's budget, I understand this is how the business is going to be, and this is next year I'm expecting some kind of growth, and hence if I have to grow my business, I need to incur some kind of incremental expenses, and that's how the budget will be prepared. It is a very simple. In fact, what you can do is, if you have that base, let us say last year's numbers, last year's figures, leave the COVID year. Okay, COVID year is one exceptional year for everybody, where a lot of disruption that has happened. We will come to that topic later. But then, considering that an incremental budgeting can be prepared, it is the most simple way to start. It is a very simple way to begin. But even in incremental budgeting, what I would say, go to the granular level. Granular level, we will see what do I mean by granular level, and how you can get into that aspect of your organization. Next types of budgeting. Next type is activity based budgeting. Simple. What is the activity that needs to be carried out to deliver that kind of product or service to the customer? So what you do is, let us say it's a very top down approach. I want to deliver X products. I have a organizations have a very mix of services that they can offer. So when they bundle up services, so this is the activity that they need to carry on, this is the activity that they need to carry on. Based on this activity, this is the budgeting that they will do for the organization. The second part can be, in, let us say you have an industrial or a manufacturing unit, fabric manufacturing unit. You, from the yarn to processing, from processing, dyeing, again, if you have the ready fabric, you will do finished product, which means you will have ready-made wear. Anything can be in your process. Let's say somebody is just giving you the order for dyeing alone, so it is only one activity that is going to be carried out for that order. But somebody says processing and dyeing, then you have two activities. So based on what are the activities that you need to do for that order, accordingly you will understand the type of work involved, quantity and the cost of work involved, and you will budget or price your orders accordingly. When we call by activity based budgeting, if an organization carries out 7-8 different activities, what kind of budgeting it should do to make sure that overall, after meeting all its overheads, what kind of profitability it can have. It's more, I told you, even the incremental budget can be done at granular level. This is more versatile, more volatile, and how we can, as well as how we can make it in the organization. More from a manufacturing point of view, more from a service or a project where people have different projects where deliveries are different, then they look at activity based budgeting. Next is demonstrate how activity based budgeting can be implemented. Okay, yeah, it's a small example. I'll just take a, in an activity-based budgeting, let us say the cost of manufacturing the product last year was 4 rupees per unit, but current year your cost structure has changed. So you will understand what activity, what is the cost structure, and how you can make it as it has become 5 rupee per unit. Just a minute. So just in case you are thinking that you can put last year what cost was there, and now this year how much it's going to increase by 10%, it is not going to work out. In such scenarios, it is better that, just a second, just give me a minute. Thank you. Yeah. Next comes zero-based budgeting. Ideally, this is the kind of budgeting that startups do, or projects which are in infrastructure, or you can say something that is starting from the scratch, or you're getting into a new vertical that is from the scratch. What it is all about is each expense is justified. Why you are incurring these expenses? What is the need for expenses? Which means the base is zero. COVID has actually taught us that make the base zero and rethink on your expenses. Okay. So what is the kind of expense that you're incurring? What is the need for expenses? Whether there is any need or there is no need at all, and how we can look at it from here onwards. There's an example of zero-based budgeting, where blindly and incremental budgeting will not be of help, or a senior management who will allocate on a random basis, that also will not be on help, but something which is more so why this expense is incurred and how this expense is incurred, that is what will be of help to us. After this, what we have is profitability budgeting. It's a very simple budgeting. The purpose of this budget is to forecast the profit and to make sure what is the kind of sales you need to do for achieving this profit. Cash flow budgeting is more wholesome. In this, what happens is you understand, I have done sale, I have got profit. Where is this profit locked up? Whether it is invested in stock, working capital, or I have invested it for growth, or is it lying in the FDs? Whatever it could be, but this is what cash flow budgeting is all about. Next, just to delve deeper into profitability budgeting, it is a very simple example that I have considered: sales, operating expenses, profit, EBITDA, depreciation. So as per all the information that you have gathered from your organization, there is an expectation of 30,000 rupees profit. These are just random numbers here, but still. But let us say you want a profit of around 40,000 rupees. Then what you should do? What kind of sales should be achieved? What kind of expenses reduction needs to be done? We need to reverse work on it and make sure we have a budget that is aligned towards our desired profits. That's why I say budgeting is a tool to help us understand the desired profit. The next part is cash flow budgeting. Okay, let's assume that with cash flow, with the profitability budgeting, you understood it's how to make profit. Now it's not enough that you make profit. Okay, I can make a sale of 3 lakh rupee a month, but I should realize that sale also. Otherwise, it's lying in the debtors. So in this case, there is a simple example where we say yes. Where we say that company expects 1,000 pairs of shoes and as a stock, or it expects a sale of 3 lakh rupees in the month of July and with 5,000 pairs. What is the kind of cash flow it is going to get? So with that sales, 70% of the sales are in cash, which means they will get 2,10,000 rupees. They will also realize 75,000 rupees from debtors. They have these commitments to make. Closing balance, they are having a negative 20,000. So what they should do, they should think of short-term arrangement of funds, or they should think of better realization. So a cash flow budget actually is a wholesome budget which helps you understand, realize that it's not only sales that is important, but it is also profit and materialization of that profit. That is very important. Lot of organization, lots of organization, they know that they have to do the sale, they know all this is possible, okay, but when it comes to realization, that is a place that they get stuck up really bad. Either their payment patterns are very poor or their realizations are very poor. They are not able to handle the suppliers because they're paying late and no discounts are availed, hence the cost of the product becomes much higher. So they get into a vicious cycle because of not handling their cash flows properly. One of the example is where we worked on a client, on a monthly basis, we worked on a cash flow variance report. What are these are just random numbers here, they are not client numbers, but then what are the area of expense and income? They had collection from debtors, they didn't have any cash sales. They had some direct expenses, some advance payments, foreign travel, then bank commitments. They had capital investments. They are doing a project where they were supposed to invest in that machinery plant. It could be as simple as buying a printer. Okay, I'm just giving you a random example. If it is the organization is a startup, then you need to plan where your printer purchase, things like spending on an event or something like that. So where then we understood this much only is available for payment of suppliers, but how much we need to make a payment, this was the projected payment. Only if we make these kind of payments, our supplies will be regular. So considering all that, then we moved on. What is the need? How much is the need of cash? And we understood. We projected 75,000, but we borrowed only 50,000 during that month. We again projected so much, but we borrowed a little lesser. We are able to maintain a cash balance. If you look at realization has been low, but because we are able to manage our expenses or outflow on account of expenses, we were able to manage the cash flow.